Well, guys, here we are again, doing another podcast about Kanye West running for president of the USA. I knew I would end up having to do yet another podcast about this particular topic because obviously for the media, for the press, for us inhabitants of Mother Earth, we are aware of the fact that this was a topic that wasn't necessarily going to die down and it wasn't necessarily going to go away quite quickly. And since my last podcast that I did on this topic, I'm sure it was about a week or so ago, there was quite a lot of publicity about Kanye wanting to basically break all the rules in regards to the presidency and running for presidency, basically because he hadn't actually, handed in any paperwork. I mean, Kanye, come on. In order to be president, they have to get the paperwork in right. You have to have certain certified boxes, make it legal, make it aware. Obviously, there's particular states that you have to declare the fact that you want to run for president, and you hadn't done that. And instead, I was reading in the news that what you thought you could do was boycott that whole system and use sort of like, I guess, the code of, well, COVID has happened, I'm sure I can bypass this particular situation. No, that shouldn't be the case. If you are someone who's going to be standing for election, standing for the people, standing for government, standing for the small man, the young female too, like I said to you before, this is not just about one particular gender. I'm using terms that society uses generally, but you're representing the community, and showing us that you want to bypass it and make up your own rules and your own system. That is not going to help the people that are hopefully casting their votes. Now, today on joe.co.uk, which is a really good news outcast and news feed, by the way, there is some really disturbing footage of Kanye. Now, you can say to me it's been taken out of context. I doubt it. Okay, I doubt it. The actual video footage of him is extremely alarming. Extremely alarming. So I'm going to just let you listen to the initial part of him basically making his speech towards the crowd. So let's start with it. Here we go.
My mom saved my life. My dad wanted to abort me. My mom saved my life. There would have been no Kanye West because my dad was too busy.
So he starts his presidential campaign with, I quote, "My mom saved my life, my dad wanted to abort me," end quote. That's how he starts his presidential campaign. Now, I'm all for people telling me about the history and the roots and what might have driven them to stand for election and stand for president. There are some things, Kanye, that we shouldn't really share. There are some things that your president shouldn't really share. I'm all for you being on the level of the community and the people around you. And obviously, clearly, you want some empathy and sympathy because you broke down in tears. But this isn't someone who, to me, seems extremely stable. And this is coming from someone who's worked with quite a lot of broken, unfortunately, and traumatized individuals. He continues with his barrage of utter weirdness, I guess. So let's just listen to that. He continues to tell us now a little bit about Harriet Tubman. Now, this is his take on it, not mine.
Harriet Tubman. Well, Harriet Tubman never actually freed the slaves. She just had the slaves go work for other white people.
Y'all, we leave it right now.
As you can hear, one woman is absolutely outraged. She's not the only one. I would have been throwing something at him. I know it's wrong to assault somebody at this stage. But, seriously, how dare you belittle someone's actions that are clearly in history, clearly show something else? As I said before, you're jumping from one president, which unfortunately is Mr. Trump. And as I said to you before, people, Trump in my part of the area from Sheffield, which is where I'm from, Trump means farting, trumping, bad gas, pollution. Seriously, how can people think that you're moving from one president to another that's going to be better, And he carries on in his presidential campaign with more intrinsic and personal information that's got nothing to do with him standing for election. Don't believe me? Listen.
You know, the rappers like that. So she said she was pregnant, and for 1 month, and 2 months, and 3 months, we talked about her not having this child. She had the pills in her hand. People know these pills where you take the pills, and if you take it, it's a wrap. The baby's gone. So I was sitting up in Paris, and I had my leather pants on. You already know, if you got leather pants on, you already know who this person must think they are. Right? And I'm in the apartment where my wife was actually robbed. And I have my laptop up, and I got all of my creative ideas. I got my shoes, I got my next album cover, I got community.
We get it, Kanye. We get it. So now, instead of telling me what you're going to do for the people, what you're going to do for the community, you're now reliving a story about a situation where you found out your wife was pregnant. Instead of celebrating that joyous occasion where she's pregnant with your first child, the two of you are considering aborting it. You're clearly telling us this particular topic, which we know at the moment in America is a very, very hot-seated topic. Again, Kanye, I'm sorry to say, what has this got to do with you running for president? You are not showing empathy. You are not showing understanding. You're not showing compassionate side to a human being. Yeah? You are showing someone who is full of arrogance and ego. You're talking about yourself being sat there in your leather pants in Paris, the apartment where she was robbed. You know? You're not showing me your willingness to think of anyone in that community that you are going to represent as the president. How can I trust you to look after the community and the people and their best interests when all you seem to do is basically talk about self and ego? We've already got one of those people up as president in America at the moment. We don't need another. He continues with his tirade of then saying, I've mentioned this particular story because now I'm full of joy and I have my children and there are people that are childless that don't really understand. We do understand, Kanye, but yet again, what does this have to do with you being a president? If you're trying to come across as being this family man and family guy, I'm sorry, it's not working. And it's not just me who just disbelieves you. There are other people also that sort of don't agree with what you're saying. And guess what? It's someone quite important, somebody that was in, power prior to you. So let's hear what he has to say.
But in case Kanye is serious about this whole POTUS thing, or as he calls it, peasy, I do have advice for him. There's some stuff that I've picked up on the way. Word tip. Saying that you have a beautiful, dark, twisted fantasy. That's what's known as off message in politics. You can't say something like that. There are a lot of people who've lost their congressional seats saying things like that. You don't do that. That's number 2. And number 3. Do you really think that this country is going to elect a black guy from the south side of Chicago with a funny name to be president of the United States? That is crazy.
It says it all, doesn't it? When you have the prior president, Barack Obama, for all his faults, he did quite a lot of good as well, hands up. However, for someone else to stand in that position and just basically put it straight, how are you going to clean up this mess, Kanye, after what Trump has done? And if anything, I think you're going to continue making more mess, It's already, there's lots and lots of memes already coming out at the moment. Yeezy in the house, keeping up with the Kardashians in the White House. Is it going to turn into some sort of lunatic show? Like I said to you, we need somebody that is going to be on the side of the people, somebody that is there to support the people, someone that is caring, kind, okay? Someone that's compassionate, someone that's not about the ego, and someone that is not about themselves always, To be president, you need to make sure that you are caring, kind, that you know the struggles and the hassles that people are going through. And clearly, Kanye, you're not. Even in this rant, and that's what I'm going to call it, it was a rant about, the fact that your mother saved your life. That's your particular viewpoint. But the things that you're doing at the moment is not supporting you to be president. Your so-called facade of when you were basically, helping out people through Trump and doing this facade of, I'm just helping out, it's just all a show. Well, it's clearly not. Maybe this whole presidential campaign is also a facade that you're putting on for our entertainment. I appreciate there are some people claiming that they're going to support you. Yeah, people with influence, people with money, the same people we don't really want in power. The people we don't want hanging around with us, to be fair. We want someone who's going to look after the people. And although you've clearly stated, in some respects that you're going to win, I doubt it. How can someone win that's not even stood and done the paperwork correctly? You've had an interview with Forbes recently. I appreciate that. And in the Forbes interview, you've talked about the fact that you've got certain techniques and certain measures that are going to help you, make the voting universal to anyone who wants to get in there and basically stand for election. But as I said to you, you're not actually doing justice for the community or for the environment or for the people, because all your agenda seems to be about is you and your wife and your children. And I appreciate, I'm not, dissecting that in a horrible way. What I'm saying is you need to be thinking about the wider people. There's more people on this planet than you, Kanye, and your small little family, I think you have enough media attention as it is with your family being on various shows, including yourself. You don't need any more TV coverage, and unfortunately some of us can't see your family being, the first lady of the house or whatever you want to call it. There are lots and lots of issues with you running for president, and it's clear to anybody with a small bit of intelligence to see that. We know you clearly, proudly had said, that you're running for president of the United States, and you're quoted as saying, we must now realise the promise of America by trusting God, unifying our vision and building our future. I am running for president of the United States, end of quote. That was you on Twitter, Kanye, But how are you realistically going to do this? As I've said, there's so many ballots that you've missed. There's so many deadlines that you've missed, and your political policies are not actually very, very clear. Your policies have been controversial in the fact that you've supported Trump. And as I said before, I was very dubious as to why you had quickly turned that around to then say, well, actually, it was all a facade and actually I was supporting him. No, you're only doing that purely so you could say to people and dupe them. A good joker, a good magician does dupe the people. That's what you've done. That's what you have done. You claim to be a Black Lives Matter supporter, but only when it matters, only when it counts, and only when it's in your favour. I'm sorry, these are my opinions, you might not agree with me, but that's the way I see it, and I see things a bit more clearly, And I have this knack of calling a spade, unfortunately, and I appreciate it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, Sometimes the truth does hurt and it does sting, but this is the way that I see it. I appreciate in 2015, you said, on the MTV Music Video Awards, I think it was, you said, yeah, I want to run for president, I want to do this, I want to do that. You should have been making those moves way back then. Now it just seems like some sort of a clown show, and we're just thinking it's a bit of a train wreck of what's going to happen next, I haven't really seen you do things for our wider community. I haven't seen you do something for the people, and that's what matters. What have you done community work-wise? Even this presidential election and speech that you've done today, it just shows you, unfortunately, that either you've not practiced and thought through your speech, or you're just rambling and waffling, as I call it, and your whole concept is just bizarre, absolutely bizarre. There's no logic, there's no simplified putting your ideas forward. There's nothing. And it's all about you, Kanye, and your family. You're not thinking about the people that are going to vote for you. Why should they vote for you? They don't want Kardashian or yourself as, a person that's going to elect and stand for them. No way. No way. And you can keep arguing and you keep trying to do these particular things, but all your actions, all your motives are not someone that I would trust to have my vote. We need someone that we can rely on, that we can trust, that we can depend on. Someone that's not going to be financially bankrupt for a start, and that's going to pimp himself out on Twitter from Mark Zuckerberg and ask for help. That's not the way an election is run. And even when you've missed all these various deadlines and you're wanting, in some way you're wanting some leniency, hell no. Hell no. How can we trust you to be president if you're going to do things like that? We need someone who's going to stick to deadlines. Deadlines are there for a reason. Even at college and university level, if you don't hand deadlines, work in by set dates, there's repercussions. You have this knack of not understanding that. You seem to think because of who you are and your status, that gives you some sort of right to have some animosity. Nah. I'm sorry. It doesn't stand with me. It doesn't stand with me at all. We want someone who's going to be there on time, who stands by the laws, who stands by the rules, who is standing for the people. And Kanye, you're not it. You can keep standing up. You can keep doing these particular, speeches that are looking absolutely bizarre. I mean, the video that I saw of you doing this speech, you had like a bulletproof vest on. I mean, dude, at least think about your retirement, and you can't complain. You've got Yeezys, you've got your own fashion line company, but you're coming in looking like some sort of army SWAT team. Nah, I'm sorry, Kanye, I'm not buying it. I'm not going to vote for you. Not that I can vote for you because I'm not American, obviously, but you're putting yourself in a situation where, the subconscious and the conscious should be thinking about what you're doing. What you're doing has a knock-on effect to the community around you. And even people that have supported you, have supported your church and supported all these other things that you've been doing for a while, they're seeing right through you now, Kanye. And it's not the person we used to know way back. I'm all for people changing. I'm all for people moving on and being, aspiring and being someone that is helping their community. But all I'm seeing, like I said, is ego. And I'm seeing it's all about me show. And I think you need to wake up a little bit, Kanye. Either that, and I don't want this to sound rude, please go see someone about your mental health, because it's clear there are some issues there. And I would like you to go and get some help, Kanye, because it's clear that you're not getting it. Anyway, I hope that doesn't sound rude. I'm just telling you straight. And I appreciate it's not news that people want to hear. Yeah? But I'm sorry. You're a man who's obviously, not in a position to be running for president. I can see it. Thousands and millions of people can see it. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are on the in crowd that just like to get on the bandwagon because they can. Because they want some presidential perks, I guess. Okay, and I'm not one of them. So I'm sure, yet again, we'll probably be doing another podcast about this topic at another time. But for now, I'll leave it there. Bye-bye, folks. Thanks for listening.